Welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Sports Report. Today my co-host Jordyn Bennett couldn't be with us, but we brought in a couple guys, a couple of the contributors we have over at the Rocket to join me. As always, I'm Cody Nespor, and let's meet them. I'm joined by Justin Krause, one of our contributors, and Steve Sukovich.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, guys, for coming on. We've got the full round of sports today. We're running the gauntlet. We're talking about baseball, football, lacrosse, tennis, indoor or outdoor track and field, and softball. So let's get started with baseball. Justin, what can you tell us about the games yesterday?
Well, the big news coming out of yesterday was that in the second game, transfer pitcher Tyler Markovic was able to finally start again, and he provided a great outing for the Rock. He got the win in pitching 5 1/3 innings and only giving up 2 hits and 1 run while striking out 3. That gives a big shot in the arm to the rest of the rotation, which has been solid throughout this entire season. The obvious ace of the staff is Alex Pantuso. He only has a 3.43 ERA and has 3 wins and only 1 loss. He's the lowest batting average against in the PSAC at 164 and strikes out an average of 13.5 batters per 9 innings. Joining Pantuso is Preston Falashino with a 5.54 ERA, which is the lowest ERA of his career, and his record stands at 4-2. Rounding out the rotation is Matt Gordon, who has a 6.81 ERA and a 3-2 record. He's the number 3 starter. In his last 4 starts, he has went 5+ innings every time and given up less than 4 runs each time. And it is no secret that the Slippery Rock baseball team is doing much better than they were last year already. Last year, they topped out at 13 wins. They already have 18 wins this season. And I was able to talk to the right fielder and leadoff hitter, Jimmy Divasevic, who is 4th on the team in RBIs, 3rd in slugging percentage, and 4th in doubles. And what he told me was the reason for their success is that it's not just one guy who's stepping up every game. If the top half of the order isn't hitting well, then the bottom half is going to make up for it. Same with pitching. If a starter isn't going well, then a reliever's going to be able to come in and make up for it. So he gave credit to all of his teammates for why they're doing so much better this season.
I think Markovic coming back is going to be a big boost. Obviously, they play the 2 doubleheaders every weekend, so having him as the 4th starter, he might even be the 3rd starter. That's going to be a big shot because basically it's been Trevor Atkins a couple times, it's been Anastas a couple times, but if they can solidify that 4th starter, that'd be really nice. Especially if Matt Gordon can keep pitching like he's pitching. You mentioned it. He's been very, very good the last 3 or 4 starts, especially when we've seen it at home.
Yeah.
When he has his changeup and his curveball working, he's a top pitcher. But yeah, what you said about the lineup too is true because we've seen Joe Campagna turn it on. Mitch Wood's playing a lot better at second base, and Matt Mendez has really solidified himself as the starting 3rd baseman. So when that whole lineup's going and they have all 4 starters, I mean, they're going to be in every single game.
Yeah, talking to the head coach, Jeff Messer, he gave a lot of credit to some of the guys who normally don't share the spotlight because the spotlight usually goes on the offensive side to guys like Tyler Walters and Christian Porterfield for good reason, but he was spreading the wealth, so to say, in terms of giving credit to the whole team. You know, Carson Kessler and Joey Campagna, guys you mentioned, doing well to just solidify the lineup, and then he gave a lot of credit to Mitchell Wood, transitioning from shortstop to second base this year, has been doing great. He said that Mitchell Wood could be hitting in the top of the lineup for any other PSAC school, but he feels comfortable batting them their 8th, and then Matt Mendez has finally given the Rock a good solid 3rd baseman to give them a lot of consistency. So that consistency and rounding out, finally finding a 4th starter is gonna be what will give them the best chance to make the playoffs and make a run at it this year.
Looking ahead to next week, it is the football spring game next Friday. And you guys know I like baseball, I like these spring sports. Lacrosse has been fun to watch, but there's something about football. Absolutely. Talking about football, it's my favorite. What I want to talk about this week is there's going to be a 3-way quarterback battle between redshirt senior Tanner Geary, who came over from Youngstown last year, he had to sit out because of transfer rules, and then the 2 sophomores, Augustus Nicastro and Nathaniel Musselman. Last year, Nicastro saw time in 3 games, completed 66% of his passes for 369 yards, 5 touchdowns and interception. Musselman played in 5 games, had 55% completion, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns and interceptions. It's going to be a really fun 3-way race to watch, I think.
Yeah, well, everybody has their own niche that they're going to be playing out of. Now, Tanner Geary, he's the more experienced guy, obviously. He's a transfer senior. You know, he had to sit out last year, so he had a whole year to learn the Rock offense. But Augustus Nicastro and Nathaniel Musselman have experience playing at the Rock, and both of them are different because Augustus is more of your typical pocket passer. He's going to sit back in the pocket and deliver the ball to his receivers, while Nathaniel Musselman is going to look to be more that read option guy and be the dual threat quarterback. So all 3 of them have their own thing that they're going to be promoting for themselves to try to win that starting spot, and it's going to be very interesting to watch which one is going to win out.
I think the wild card, it has to be Geary because we've never seen him. He played very sparingly at YSU. He has not played here. I've never seen him play. I don't know if you've ever seen him play.
I saw him in practice. That's about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, depending on what he can do, that might be it. But I think, if I had to guess, I know offensive coordinator Roper likes, he likes Don King this year with the running and stuff. I would probably guess Musselman has the slight edge just because he has that dual threat that Nicastro doesn't have and that I don't know if Tanner Geary has. But that'll be fun to watch. We'll have more about that as the spring goes on. The head coach, Sean Lutz, told me he wants to name a starter coming out of spring. He doesn't want to wait till fall like he did for this year. So as soon as that gets announced, we'll be all over that.
That's going to be some big news, so look forward to that.
Let's move on to the lacrosse team. They were in action again this week. They beat Lock Haven on Saturday and then beat Gannon earlier this week. They are looking to make the playoffs for the first time since they were reinstated in 2007. And that is exciting because they have not been, the past couple years they've been pretty good, but before that, when they just restarted back in 2007 because of Title IX, they were not good. So for them to, 10 years later, after, starting completely over, to be back in the playoffs, that's pretty fun, especially in the PSAC. PSAC's tough. It's got all the nationally ranked teams. But I think, in my opinion, I think the team starts and ends with the transfer goalie, junior Emily Bitka. She's the first in PSAC in goals against with 7.17, and she's second in the PSAC in save percentage with 5.08. Slipper Rock is allowing the least number of shots defensively, and when Bitka can stop the few shots that they allow, I mean, if the other team can't score, they're not going to win.
Yeah, that comes down to any sport. But like you said, Emily Bitka, just being she's just in goalie. She does not give up anything, and that provides such a huge boost, especially in lacrosse when sometimes if you get out of control, you get into these double-digit games, you don't know what can happen. But having that sort of stability is fantastic, and that's a big reason why the lacrosse team has been able to break out. And you touched on it, like you said, only a decade ago, I mean, this team was going 0-20 every year.
They didn't exist.
But now they're going to hopefully be able to make the playoffs. Now they're tied for fourth. 6 teams make the PSAC playoffs, so they are right in there for that spot. That's extremely exciting to watch. That's great stuff.
Yeah, what's really exciting is to watch this year has been the offense because it's not just one girl. We have 3 players with more than 25 goals: senior Caitlin Paldina, sophomore Tia Torcha, and junior Brivad. And 7 players have double-digit points. That is as balanced a lacrosse offense I think you'll find. And I talked to Coach Emily Hopkins last week, and she said they run a zone defense, which nobody else pretty much does. So when the other teams come in and they see a zone defense which they're not used to, and we have this balanced attack, it's just hard to adjust to play against Slipper Rock. Moving on from that, we'll move over to Steve. Can tell us a little bit about the softball team.
Things are actually looking up, guys. They have won 4 out of their last 6 coming in today's matchup with Clarion. We'll find out more about that later. They currently sit at 4th place with an 11-18 record coming into today's game. The last game they played was on Tuesday at home against Point Park, and the games. Carly DeRose started game 1, and she won the game 1-0, surrendering only 4 hits in 8 innings with 8 strikeouts and 0 runs earned. Her season ERA is 3.7, and with a 4-7 record now. Their ace, though, would be Brooke Dawson, who pitched in Game 2 and won the game 3-1, allowing 7 hits in 7 innings with 6 strikeouts with 1 run. Her season ERA is 2.19, and her record is 9-6. DeRose and Dawson seem to be the simple 1-2 punch for these guys. They've been rolling with both of them all year. But leading the bats would be center fielder Emily Nagel, who went 3 for 7 in her 2 games against Point Park last game, and improving her season average to .432 coming into today. And she once actually had a 17-game hit streak, which just snapped the other week against Cal U. Someone that's emerged lately, it would be second baseman Megan Brown. She is now second on the team in batting average with .35, and in her last 5 out of her last 6 games, she's had multi-hit games.
Well, we knew coming in they were going to have the pitching. With DeRose and Dawson, especially the way softball is, all you need is those 2 starters to start the doubles headers, and we knew they had that. The big question was the offense, and it seems like the offense is finally turning around. These younger girls like Megan Brown, if they can start hitting and the offense can start taking off behind Nagel and people like Caitlin Baxter, if the rest of the girls in that lineup can start contributing behind the pitching staff, I think they might make some noise.
Yeah, they might be able to. We'll see how they do today against Clarion, and apparently they're struggling a little bit, Clarion.
Yeah, I saw they won game 1. It was a barn burner. I know we scored 15 ones, but I'm not sure on Clarion. But I know we won that first game, 15 runs. I mean, even against a struggling team, that's a lot for how kind of stagnant the offense seemed at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and they mostly seem to have late starts into their games, not score until later into the game.
All right. Well, let's move on to outdoor track and field, where somebody who was on the show a couple weeks ago, Ryan Thompson, cannot stop breaking school records, re-broke the record he broke earlier this season in the 1,500-meter race. This past weekend at the Bison Outdoor Classic held at Bucknell, he finished second place in the race with a 3 minute 46 second and 3 minutes 46 seconds, 0.34 seconds. That's the fastest score history, of course, I said, breaking his own record from about a month ago. And the impressive thing was he finished second at Bucknell, but that was with 20 Division I schools there. So, I mean, they're getting ready. They actually have a meet here tomorrow that I don't believe he's competing at for rest because they're getting ready for the conference championships. But when, if he's going to run like this, when championships rolls around, it's going to be, the men's outdoor team is going to be really fun to watch. And then on the women's outdoor team, Kennedy Evans hit a NCAA provisional mark in the 400-meter hurdles. She took first place at the meet with a 1 minute, 0.68 second time. She's been really on fire. She does all the sprints. She does both 100 and 400-meter hurdles, and she runs all the relays. So she's a big anchor on the team. I think both the track teams, when the conference championship rolls around, might be able to might surprise some people.
Yeah, they definitely will. And I was able to talk to a head coach of the track team, John Papa, today, and he said that tomorrow some of the best guys and girls aren't going to be going because weather is very touchy right now. So he doesn't want to risk having some of the best people out there getting hurt. And usually, he says, not the best competition comes to Slip Rock because whenever you adjust a Bucknell of 20 Division I schools, the competition is a pretty huge downgrade here. But like you said with Thompson, I mean, this is some stuff that hasn't been heard of at Slip Rock ever. Yeah. Just with the numbers that he keeps putting up, keeps breaking records. I mean, 1 second off of the all-time conference record. As a senior, just really shattering a lot of records that Slip Rock has had for a long time here. And I'm really looking forward to see what he's able to do at PSACs and at regionals because he is a very exciting runner to watch.
Kind of a shame he's not competing tomorrow. The last home meet of the year, we don't get to see him, of course, But yeah, a lot of the top guys usually don't compete when we have meets here just because the weather's usually pretty bad.
Yeah.
And not a lot of big schools come here, but it's nice that we get to host, and some people that usually don't get to compete now. So it'll still be fun to watch. Our last segment, we're going to talk about tennis. Justin, if you want to.
Yeah, well, the tennis team, that's kind of a tragic story. They wrapped up the season 9-11, which isn't bad, but you really want to think about what could have been because they were very much so hampered by injury. So, Cody, do you want to talk for a second about who was the 1-2 punch last year, and they lost both of those girls this year?
I talked to head coach Matt Meredith before the season started, and he said with the lineup he had, he thought he would win conference, which is very tough. The PSAC is a very tough tennis division. It's not nationally taken. That's because he was returning two of the better players in the conference last year in juniors, Carla Curachana-Maracho and junior Nina Barbano. They're both very good singles players, and they're both very good doubles players. And he added to that a 3-star freshman in Lacey Cohen, who was phenomenal this year. She took over at #1 singles, and she played in the first doubles pairing. So, I mean, that's half of his lineup right there are exceptional players. Unfortunately, halfway through the season, he lost both Barbano and Curachana-Maracho, and then that pushed everybody else up. So everybody's playing 2 slots up except for Cohen, and they couldn't recover from that, which was sad, but he still gets them all back next year for kind of that, last try maybe at conference, so that's nice. But, I mean, even despite injuries, if we want to talk about the people that were here and were playing, Lacey Cohen, as a freshman, she played #1 singles all year long. She played #1 doubles. She finished 13-13 in singles. She won 6 of her last 10, and she finished 16-11 playing #1 doubles the whole year. As a freshman, that is phenomenal. Who knows what she's going to do?
Yeah, I think if you add her to Curachana-Maracho and Barbano next year, the Rock could be very dangerous. They could make that run. And then, of course, Amanda Buscemi, she's an understated player as well because she had to bump up to play #2 singles and #1 doubles, which she never thought she was going to have to do. But she went 11-14 in singles and 12-13 in doubles. That's almost 500 being only a sophomore and having to be bumped up 2 full spots in the positions you never thought you wanted to be at. That's a great performance, and that gives the Rock a lot of hope for next year.
Yeah, Buscemi usually played doubles with Barbano, and Cohen usually played with Carla. So when both Carla and Nina are out, they had to kind of mishmash the doubles, and they still played well. A freshman and a sophomore playing #1 doubles still played pretty well. So the future seems bright for tennis, especially next year. Next year's going to be the key where it's the right time frame where it's your experienced seniors and your talented underclassmen coming together, and hopefully they can stay healthy, because this year even, if they had stayed healthy, it would have been exciting.
Yeah, they would have been able to be in there, but next year they're definitely going to be one of the top contenders.
So coming up this weekend, I believe all the sports are in action. We'll have all that coverage for you over on the OnlineRocket.com. Like I said, the football spring game is next Friday. We're going to have tons of coverage on that, video coverage, features, story, everything as football season gets close. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Cody Nespor.
I'm Justin Kraus.
And I'm Steve Sukovich.
Just a reminder, we won't be here next week. There's a trip, so some of our staff won't be here. But remember to tune back in 2 weeks. We'll have Jordyn back. I'll be back here, and we'll tell you all about everything football related, all the spring sports and everything. Keep you up to date. Thank you.